My name is Sharyn Mitchell. I am a Reiki Master teacher. I also go by Reiki Master Pandora. That is my nickname, and people will remember Pandora over Sharyn, so. I grew up on the East Coast, so I am a Jersey girl at heart. My husband says you can take the girl out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the girl. Hence, kind of goes along with my nickname, Pandora. And I met him when I was right before my senior year of high school. So we will be together 36 years this summer and married 33. So, and happily, I should say, because a lot of people can say they're married a long time. It doesn't mean it was happy. So we're happily married. I have 2 grown kids that I adore and a 5-year-old grandson that is the love of my life, other than my husband. So the only competition he has is with my grandson. So my profession. So for the last 4 years, I've been a hairstylist, something I've always wanted to do, but never got around to it for different reasons. And my husband told me, you know, this is something you really want to do. Is there ever a time in your life you didn't want to do hair? I'm like, never. And he's like, go do it then, because I was like, I am too old to do this now. But he encouraged me, and I'm really glad. So I finally have my full hair license. Been doing that for 4 years. So I love to play with color, obviously. So so that's my main thing. And then now adding Reiki to it, which I actually can bring them together because I can add Reiki massage to their head massage in the shampoo bowl. So I can kind of hit 2 things at once. Reiki is energy healing, and there are different techniques. Different people do it different way. So with Reiki, we're using sacred symbols that have been rediscovered over the last 102 years. Tibetan old Sanskrit that have brought it out. So sacred geometry, symbols, they all have a lot of meaning and energy. So that is what we use with Reiki. Reiki can work for everyone. However, someone could block it. If they're a little nervous, they could close off to the energy flow, which is understandable. You've had a total stranger typically coming into your energy field, so they can block it. If it's something caused because they're still learning, need to learn something from what's going on in their body, then it might not dissipate right away. Or if they're subconsciously benefiting from it, like if they get a lot of attention because of their illness, they might subconsciously kind of block it. But for the most part, yeah, it can work for anyone and everyone. So everything is energy. Everything in the earth, in the world, is energy. So Reiki is working with energy. So yeah, we can work on plants and animals, your food, water, anything. I love to help people. I like to make people feel good. So it's just kind of was natural to kind of just flow into that. And I'm still not sure how I just ran with it. But once I started, I was like, oh. Plus, it's just fascinating, like to actually see it work. Like when I was first trained, I was like, all right, I know I'm told, go with it, whether you feel it or not. And so you doubt, but then you're like, wow. This works. Like, this is amazing. Like, you can't deny the energy work. It's just awesome. What has Reiki done for me? It definitely, I'm more confident. I always lacked self-confidence, and I don't lack that anymore. I can see with the power, and it's all about the mind. Like, our minds control so much, and the positive attitude with things. And yeah, I don't know if it's between getting older or whatnot, but it's just, I've grown that way, and it's actually strengthened my faith. I consider myself a Christian, born-again Christian. A lot of born-again Christians might question that because I kind of take a different avenue, but I think it's just broadened what I learned could be possible. Jesus laid hands on people and did miracles and told us we would do greater miracles than he did, and you don't always see it every day. But I think you can see it if you look for it, and I think Reiki is just more education on doing what Jesus did. So people don't understand my rocks or my energy, but I'm like, I still love the Lord, so it's okay if you don't understand it. I'm not gonna question you. Don't question me, I won't question you. Yes, I'm going to do long distance on a gal that's in Indiana, and I am currently in Henderson, Nevada right now. So she is on call for me to. What I typically do is let her know, starting in a minute, because it gives me a minute to say my prayer and connect with her. So sometimes I'll ask her earlier, I said, what do you want, if anything, worked on? And she said her heart, because she's going through a lot of issues with her mom being ill and whatnot. So I'll do the prayer, I'll connect with her, and then I check her chakras and work on her. I usually always use my crystals, because me and crystals have a thing. So when I set up a distance session, I either talk or text with the person ahead of time, find out if there's anything in particular they want me to work on, or sometimes they're just like, I don't know what I need, and so then I just go with it. So I typically always check chakras, realign, balance, all that, and work on anything in particular. So we always start off with a prayer of protection for ourselves and to turn on what we consider the Reiki light. So some of that is private and to only Reiki practitioners. So everyone vibrates differently, and as a Reiki Master teacher, I've been attuned 4 times, so my vibration may be very high. So to go into someone that's much lower, I have to go slow so I don't jostle them. So I take my time, and that's why usually after the first session, then they're like, oh, okay, I understand what she's doing, and they feel more comfortable, so then I can go in deeper, which is kind of like layers, peeling the layers off. So if you have an issue that you've dealt with for 3 years, one session is not going to probably get rid of it. It might take a few sessions getting those layers off, getting to the heart of it. So I'm just going to do my Reiki prayer. And this is my way of turning on my hands, let's say, then I can feel the energy. Side note, my hands are always like ice, except when I do Reiki, they get very hot. So you can feel the energy coming out of them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to this gal, and I've sent to her before, and I'm using some of the sacred symbols. And then I can kind of feel when I connect to her, and I've sent to her before. Oh, actually, she was the first one I ever sent to. So then I just imagine they're in front of me as if I was actually working on them, and we start by sweeping the aura. The thing I love about distance Reiki is I can flip and manipulate them any way I want. Like, I have them sitting, but if I want to make her lay down, I just imagine her laying down. And I have to sweep her aura to get in, then I use symbols to give me access to her aura as well. And I usually connect with her pretty well, so. And then I like to check her chakras, so I use a pendulum and I ask to see her crown chakra, and it's showing me that it's open. And then I ask to see her third eye, and she's open. And then her throat, and her heart, and that is going the opposite, and that's exactly what she told me that's what she wanted to work on. Her solar is not doing so hot either. Her sacral, and her root. So yeah, her root's open a little bit, but the rest are closed. So we have little techniques and tricks of certain symbols that we can use as a Reiki Master to jumpstart on those chakras. I love to use crystals because that's my thing. I use the energy with crystals. So with her, I'm gonna give her my grandma heart. So that's my special rock from my grandma. So we're gonna use that on her heart. And on her solar, I'm gonna use this one. And I never know what I'm gonna use. I just kind of can use as I go. Intuitively, my hand just says, go here, go there, and work with that. So now I'm gonna specifically, actually, I'm gonna do the mental, emotional on her. So she needs that. And this is, we use certain symbols. Like right now, I'm imagining I'm over her head. And this brings an emotional balance. My cousin had to go into a very upsetting situation, and I only had a few seconds with her before she was walking into this room. And I said, can I do something on you? It might seem crazy to you. She's like, sure. So I did this on her real quick, and she's like, I don't know what you did to me, but I feel really good. I was like, well, I'm glad. And once you get used to it, you just kind of sense, you know, you have to use your intuition to when to move on. I know she's not diabetic, so I know not to start at her. I don't have to start with her feet. And we just get in and work the energy, remove the energy that needs to be removed. And then I'll imagine, like now I'm just imagining she's laying down, and these are like, I made her mini, so these are her chakras. And then I'll just use the energy to work into her chakras to clear them. Typically it's 15 to 30 minutes depending. We're gonna give her a quick short one. I have learned some tricks that I've intuitively come up with on my own where I suspend them and do an energy, and then my intention is set that the energy is still continuing for the next 30 minutes, even though I'm not. Because time's not a real thing, so I like to play with time. I like to maneuver time. Check. So I'll ask to see her root chakra, and now it's going nicely. And I'll ask to look at her sacral. Not yet. Her solar is nice. Heart is better. And even though her top ones were fine in the beginning, I like to recheck them, because when you start moving the energy below, it can change the energy on top again, and sometimes you still have to realign. But her energy's okay, so she just still has a little more work. She's got a lot going on with her heart. And then sometimes it's a matter of take a little extra time on certain parts. Sometimes I'm led to do stuff that no one tells me about because they don't realize. I think when I worked on a certain person, I was told to keep my hand a certain spot, and I'm like, but I want to go to her ears because I feel like her ears need something. And she did have an issue with her ears. I've learned now to not doubt. I know it seems crazy to a lot, but when you see it work, and when I pick up on certain things here and then chat back with them and find out that it matched up, that's pretty cool. I sent to one gentleman and I was like, I worked on your ankles. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that. My ankles have been hurting because I've been hiking a lot. I was like, well, I got you. So she's done, really, actually. I would do it longer just because if it was a real full-time session, but since for filming. And then I need to do certain things to close her up. And the important thing is always to break the connection. And then I'm done. water. So Reiki can be used on anything, energy. So I filled this up before with tap water, which I do not drink. This is Vegas. We have really bad water. And I'm asking, would I want to drink this? No. And anyone can use a pendulum. I taught my 7-year-old niece how to do it, and she could do it like that. So it's not, I tell people if they question whether it's me making it move, I'm like, here, you hold it and you do it. So it's giving me a no, we don't want to drink it. So I'm going to Reiki it. I'm going to do certain symbols and take out all the negative. You know, being a spiritual person, going to church when I was young, my thought is spirit is more important than physical. The physical is not the real world. We're moving on to the spiritual after this. So if the physical isn't the important part, then we can play with the physical. So now I'm going to do one more. And depending on how bad the water is, the longer you'd want to go. But now I'll ask, I'll get it from would I drink this now? And I'm getting a yes. So, in a pinch, I try to eat really healthy and be good to my body, but there are times, I will not lie, that I'll say like, you know what, I really want that ice cream, so I'm just gonna Reiki it first. And cheat a little bit. Hey, there's nothing wrong. It's like learning to do hair. Once you learn the rules, you know how to break them. I'm an artistic cutter. I don't just follow the diagram. I'm like, no, let's get in there and have some fun. So I know the rules. Now I know how to break them and just kind of play with them. So you can do that with anything. Relationships, you can take an item to say this is going to represent my relationship with my husband, or whatever you want to pick, and then put the symbols in it. So like this mirror I have was a fun trick I found, and I put the Reiki symbols on the bottom. So the Reiki symbols are supposed to be kept sacred. I know you can find them out there on the internet everywhere, but there are certain ways to draw them and use them, and I would not go into a doctor's office and just grab some of his tools and say, well, I can figure this out. You know, there needs to be respect, there needs to be education. So we keep the symbols, most of us keep the symbols private, so, but I like to hide them under things and just power them. They're on my shower head, taped on a piece of tape, written out, wrapped around to help with the hair in this town. The bad water. So a couple years ago, I started my new hobby of rock. They kind of like came to me. Like, I liked certain things because they were pretty, and I didn't understand why I liked them. And then all of a sudden, like, really interesting, strange things started happening, like the way I can find rocks anywhere, or they seem to literally call out to me. And I know that sounds crazy saying rocks talk to me, but I talk to myself all the time, so it doesn't matter. But they all have energy. They all do different things. Crystals have certain crystal structures. There's 7 different crystal structures, so each structure has a different energy field. People think, oh, you're crazy, you use rocks for energy and healing. Well, we use crystals every day. Your LCD on your phone or your computer is a liquid crystal display. Your watch has a quartz crystal in it because it holds perfect time. We use crystals in sonograms, in lasers, in all kinds of things. And we use the Earth's minerals in all different ways. And if you're trained growing up saying, all right, we use coal for energy, it doesn't seem odd. But if I say I use this for energy, you're like, well, you're a little Lulu. It's like, well, it's really no different. If you just, people think it's crazy, but yet I've had people, I'm like, here, take this stone, tape it on the area that hurts you, leave it at least 8 hours. Next day, pain's gone. Certain things will do certain healings for you. So I tell people, if you like a rock, go for it. You don't need to know what it's called, what it does. If you like it, there's a reason you like it. You're called to it because your body needs it for something. So my brothers like to tease me about my rocks, but then I notice they'll be like, taking one, and I'm like, oh, is that for your shoulder that hurts? You know. So yeah, energy is everywhere, and I don't feel the energy all the time. Certain things will give me goosebumps and there's no denying it. And actually I've giggled with stones and go, I gotta put you down. But for the most part, I can just see things and know there's something special about them. I'll look at a rock and think of a person or an animal or something that makes me think, I don't know why I should need this rock, but I collect the rock. And then eventually I might find a person it goes to. So God bless my husband. He'll come home and I'll have rocks all across the kitchen. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, washing my rocks. It's great exercise too, though. You get out in the sun and you hike and have 30 pounds of rock on your backpack. But so even though rocks are not part of Reiki system, a lot of us use them and tap into the energy. So it's in there. Science is catching up with the metaphysical spirit way of thinking. So science is coming to prove it. No one believed you could see auras, or people thought you were crazy if you said you could see colors around people. Now technology is coming up where they can actually take pictures of auras and they can see that. And you look at all the old beautiful portraits and why do they have halos around their head? Like, yeah, they were holy people, but they had a white golden aura. They were very spiritual people. So it's been around a long time. People just don't want to look at it that way. So like, I can go on a walk anywhere and find something interesting. It's become a game, I think. Let's see if we can take Sharyn somewhere where she won't find a rock. I was at the Jersey Shore a couple weeks ago, and I like sparkly things because I suffer from ADOS, attention deficit. Oh, shiny. So I was like, oh, look at the pretty shiny rocks. I'm gonna go climb out to the jetty and go get them. But like, besides a pretty shiny mica, it has garnet in it. And this one has a whole line of smoky quartz. So they literally kind of just come out to me. But I love amethyst, of course. It's purple. I have all different kinds. This I saw, it's magnesium, but like I see a total Indian chief there. So I have no idea exactly why I wanted to buy that one, but I did, and I just love having them there. So sometimes it's because they're pretty, sometimes it's because of what they're going to do for me at some point, which I don't always know what that's going to be. And I was told I had a unicorn that comes to me when I have my attunements, so I was like, oh, well, I have to buy the unicorn. But I'm trying to think what else I have differently. I find very interesting, odd things. Like this is like an egg, and it reminds me of the ocean, and this I found at a mine, and I was in an area where it was an international, so they had stuff from all over. So I have no idea where it originally came from, but it feels to me like it's something from the ocean. But so I kind of have my ocean ones, and I love labradorite with the flash. This one I saw a lion's paw. It's my spirit animal is a lion, so I like things lion related. This is fun. This is a big selenite, which I thought was had a dark spot. Then I realized it's actually clear where you can see through it, and I was like, ooh, this could be like a legit crystal ball. So selenite's a good cleanser and energizer. It's a good overall stone. It's pretty much not a stone out there that I don't like, so sometimes I go by their shape just because they're fun, because I love dolphins, or sometimes it's just the cool. I love this little flower agate heart. Because it doesn't matter the size of the stone, it still has the energy. So the little grids are nice for, because if you want a lot of grids, you're gonna run out of space unless you have a really big house. So this was specific today for speaking. So the throat chakra is a light blue color, so I took all my stones for public speaking, you might say, and that's my little speaking guide. So size doesn't matter and distance doesn't matter. Quantum physics, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but if you like to Google that kind of explains how and why you can do distance Reiki remote healing. So you don't need to be next to someone. I can do you in the same room, or I can send you in Indiana or Tokyo or wherever you're at, so which is kind of cool and amazing.